Your survival food doesn't have to be boring, and today we're going to prove that with some freeze-dried Wholesalers jumbo chicken tenders. We're going to make some chicken pad thai. Alright everybody, welcome back. So I know you guys love these cooking videos, and one of the things that I've chosen to do today is to make this chicken pad thai with this freeze-dried jumbo chicken tenders. Now these are uncooked. Originally I had the idea to make this meal as a bagged up meal with my vacuum sealer and put it all together like that, you know, with all the spices added and the noodles thrown in and the chicken already cooked. But I decided it's a whole lot more for me to cook it for you and show you how it looks, instead of just throwing it in a bag, sealing it up and going, hey, there's the video, thanks guys. So we're going to cook it today. I do have some spices set up here. This is all stuff that I store in my storeroom. This isn't actual stuff from my storeroom because I bought it for the video and to use. I like to keep my storeroom full. So if I took something out, I would have had to replace it, and I'm not going to be doing that today. So basically, this is just stuff that I purchased to do this video, or stuff I already had. A good example would be the chicken base cubes, little chicken bouillon cubes. So what we're going to do is make some chicken pad thai. Now this is my way of doing it, and it's kind of a fast way of doing it. I don't have bean sprouts or green onions with me today, so I can't put those in, and normally I would put those in to make it a complete, thing. But I'll give you an idea how I do it, and it's very simple. And if you don't like that stuff, well hey, here's it without it. One of the things I am going to be using today is this PB powdered peanut butter. I love this stuff, especially for cooking, because with pad thai they always tell you to use peanut butter. The problem with peanut butter is it's so thick you have to dilute it, and you end up with a watery kind of mess. With this, you can mix it as you want, at any kind of consistency or thickness that you want, and you can make it a little more watery to make a sauce out of, instead of just doing it straight with peanut butter and then having to thin it out with water. So that's why I love using this. The rest of this stuff is all, stuff you should have in your prepper pantry. The Thai noodles are kind of your option. These do last a good long time, by the way. This I rotated out. I had these in my storage. This is about a year old, and I rotated them out, so I decided to use them for the video. Now, if you're using this as a portable meal, if you're going to be sealing it up, one of the things you can go with are these ramen-like rice noodles, okay? And you can stick that in your bag. Or the noodles from this pad thai kit. This is just stuff I picked up very inexpensively. I'll end up using this for something else, but it's just an idea. If you're going to be doing this as a mobile kind of vacuum sealed meal, maybe in a go bag or for camping or whatever. But the biggest point I'm making today is your emergency food from freeze-dried Wholesalers or any source doesn't have to be boring. And that's why I like freeze-dried Wholesalers, because they just sell the raw ingredient. And you can decide to do what you want with it after the fact. So my first step for this, we're going to do this on one burner today. We're not going to be using two burners or anything like that. My first step for this is to get these rice noodles going. Some of the different types of rice noodles you can soak in water, in cold water, and they'll get soft. These actually require boiling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all this stuff off the counter. We're going to get the stove set up with this. Then we're going to use the freeze-dried jumbo chicken tenders. Now these are chicken tenders, of course. They're solid pieces of chicken. What I'm going to do is cut these down into smaller sizes before I hydrate them. I find that cutting down larger items like this, when you hydrate them, it hydrates a whole lot faster. And of course we don't want big chunks like that in this. We want little diced pieces of chicken. So let me get the stove set up and the water on for the Thai noodles, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we got the stove going. I have the water on. Now these are obviously a lot of noodles. You can probably break this down into 2 or 3 portions. Remember, I'm making a single portion just for myself. I'm not going to eat all these noodles. So when this is done, you can probably vacuum seal it in a vacuum bag and throw an oxygen absorber in. I've had these for a year, and as you can tell, they are perfectly fine. Nothing weird with them at all. So I'm going to take a portion out first, and then I'm going to chop up the chicken. Alright. And I would say, let's see here. I do like noodles, but sometimes they're just too much. There we go. I would say, whoops, get over there. Alright. I'd say that's a good portion right there. This one's still hanging out of the bag. That's a good portion right there. The rest of this we will seal up once the video's over. That's more than enough for one person. Okay. I'm going to put it underneath here to get it out of the way, because I'm going to chop up the chicken in a minute. I'll put it over here actually. Now we're going to take the freeze-dried Wholesalers chicken here, and we're going to chop that up. When I come back, I'm going to take it out there and show you what it's like when it's all chopped up. Alright, so we got the chicken here. I did have to replace that. I forgot that other one was almost empty. So I had to replace the canister there. Now this is raw chicken. I'm going to do about, let's say, 3 of these. That's a big one. That's good enough. So, it's probably too much, but I'll see when I dice it up. I can always throw it back in here with the oxygen absorbers. Alright, so I'm just going to chop this up like that. And this is very easy to cut when you're doing this. Because it's raw, because it's freeze-dried, it's very simple, easy to cut through. A little in between there. Cut them down into bite-sized pieces. And I find that this will hydrate a whole lot quicker. Let me get a thing set up here. Really, you just want to cut it and kind of leave it at that, because it will turn into a powder if you keep beating on it. I may only do 2 of these. Let me get the smaller one. That's a lot of chicken. Didn't realize how much chicken that really was. Yeah, that'll be good. Cut it down. There you go, that's good. So I would think that's good. We're going to soak this in water and hydrate it up. And that will be our next step. Waiting for the water to boil. It's almost going. It's one thing I like about this stove. If you haven't seen me review it, just search for Gas One camping stove. I believe it's a GS 700. You'll find it in my videos. I just did it recently. I do like it because it's bigger and can support actual regular sized pots. You know, you don't have to use tiny little ones. So if you're doing this at home during an emergency, and that's what this is more geared to, you can use full-size pots and you don't have to worry about a little tiny camp stove that they may not fit on. So being that this is raw chicken, we're going to kind of isolate it from everything so we don't get myself sick. Need a little more water. And just let that sit. So once that's hydrated, we'll bring you back and we'll do that part. The water's almost boiling. And these are rice noodles, so they cook very quick. Now, a trick when you're using one burner. If you're only using one burner, what you want to do is cook the pasta right up till about it's done. Okay? Leave it a little bit firm, or al dente, as they say. And you will be able to let it finish in the water as you're doing your chicken, so it doesn't get, it doesn't get overcooked or overdone. So I'm just going to put that in there. We're going to boil that up. And I'll bring you back when the chicken is hydrated, which it almost is. See, that's why I like cutting it down, because it hydrates so quickly. We clean up my mess here, and we will try it out when we come back. Now, the chicken is almost hydrated. I am going to put in a little bit of, do a little bouillon here. For those of you wondering, if you haven't seen it before, these are the bouillon cubes I use. Okay. What I do with them is I stick them in a Ziploc bag and smash them down with a... Oh, where is it? Here it is. A meat mallet. So you put the cube in there, tap it a few times, it'll crush up like nothing. Makes it easier to dissolve in water. And you get a nice bit of bouillon. You don't want too much with this. Again, we're not going, crazy with it. It's a one-person meal. So I'm just going to put a little water in here. I'm off camera, I realize. A little bit of water in there. And a little bit of bouillon to taste. I want that chicken flavor to come out, a little bit extra. There you go. That's a very convenient way of taking it with you on the trail, too. If you do have a Ziploc bag and you can't find your hammer, or, just beat it with a rock. And it'll work just as well. So we're going to mix that up. The noodles are almost done. If you notice, they're on a simmer back there. And I'm just going to kind of do that up there. We'll let that sit there. Next up is the peanut butter sauce. Okay, that's what I'm using the big container here for. Okay, so, and you have to remember, I did sterilize this countertop quickly. I go in and get a bleach rag and wipe it down in between video. You have to remember to do that because even though it's raw chicken, it still could get you pretty sick if you don't sterilize in between things you're cooking and things that are just going to be heated up, not to the correct temperature. So what I do here is, again, this is kind of just a, eyeball type thing. I may not even use all that. I just kind of add it and get my consistency that I want. Remember, I don't want that thick peanut butter consistency. I want it to be more like a little bit of a sauce, almost like it is right there. You'll still get the peanut flavor, but you won't get that thick, heavy consistency of peanut butter that makes it hard to make it into a sauce. So we're about done with the noodles. Next up is going to be the chicken. Once this fully rehydrates, it's almost there. It's been about 10 or 15 minutes, not even, you know. It's almost ready to go. So once that's fully rehydrated, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what goes into the chicken. All right, that's pretty much done, so we're going to start it. But the recipe does call for kind of a final garnish of the peanuts crushed here. I have a small bag. Again, my idea was to do this as a bagged meal, you know, and seal it up. But I figured, it's more fun to cook it. So what I do with these to crush them up, same as I did with the bouillon cube, toss them in a Ziploc bag if they want to come out. If they don't, we beat them up in the other bag. And I'm not going to put a ton of these in here. Well, they're not cooperating with me. I just want a little bit. There we go. And that should do it. Wow, this bag is being really difficult. Okay, let's just cut it open. The heck with it. There, that's about right. So you have another portion there to save for later. Now, hopefully I won't knock anything over doing this. All I'm going to do here is kind of seal this up and just crush them. I'm not going nuts. I'm not going to make them pulverized. I'm just breaking them down a little bit so they're not whole peanuts. You're not going to get a whole chunk of peanut in your meal. You'll get just a little bit of flavoring and a little tiny bit of peanuts in there. Now sometimes you will tear through the bag using that. That's no big deal. You're going to throw this bag out anyway. Alright, so let's start up the chicken. I got my little pan here. And again, that's why I love the stove, because you can use your home pans, the pans you use every day during an emergency. If your electric stove is out, you can use full-size pans on this little tiny burner here. So we're going to get that going. I got a little bit. I will put a link to the description of these. These are little portable olive oil containers. You can buy these on Amazon. They're very inexpensive and an awesome way to carry something other than vegetable oil with you, or lard, one or the other. I think that will do. And I want to get that really hot. I have it on a low flame, as you can see. I want to get that really, really hot, almost to the point that it smokes, and then we'll put our chicken right in. But first I'm going to but strain this chicken. I want to strain it really well, because I don't want all that splatter from the water in it. So let me drain that, and I'll bring you right back. All right, I got everything set here, ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is add in my chicken, and then the spices I want to add in. This is all up in there. I'm going to pull that off there a little bit so we don't get all grease everywhere. Because remember, it is waterlogged right now, even though I wrung it out pretty good. There's still a lot of water in there still. And it is very, very low. You see there, the temperature is very, very low. I don't want to overcook it. A little bit of garlic on here. I'm sorry, minced garlic. A little bit of minced onion. There we go. Alright, I like onion, maybe a little bit more than a little bit. A little bit of ginger, and I will repackage this ginger. This is a very economical way to buy spices, by the way. A little bit of ginger in there. And a tiny little bit of paprika, depending on how hot you like things. I'm not a real, I like stuff hot, so I'm not real afraid of it, but some people may not like that. I'm just going to mix it up. And again, we will turn up the heat a little bit once this gets going. I didn't want to have a grease fire going on there, because when you have foods that are rehydrated, they're naturally going to hold on to some of that water. So you want to be careful when you're putting it on. Also, I don't want to clean up this thing. I'm still going to have to do it, but not as bad. Not as bad. All right. Now at this point, I'm going to add a little bit, and since this is going in here, I don't mind using the raw chicken spoon because this is going to get heated up. A little bit of this for flavor. A little bit of the chicken stock, not too much. Just for flavor. And we're going to let that cook up. Then we'll add the peanut sauce after, once it's fully cooked. I want to brown it. I want it to be kind of brown and crispy on the outside. I don't want it to be like it's poached. Because that's kind of the thing you got to remember too when you're cooking with freeze-dried food, is when you hydrate it, there's a very good chance you'll end up poaching it. In other words, the water on the inside will cook through, and then it gets a little bit of kind of tough, or maybe a little slimy, Tastes like it's raw even though it's fully cooked. So we're going to make sure we get that all the way through. I'm going to throw in the peanuts. You could throw these in really whenever you want, even with the raw chicken. They're going to get cooked up anyway. I like to leave the peanut sauce for last, because again, it's a liquid, and I don't want to add more liquid than I need to. And that's real simple there. From what I'm smelling, it smells like you could use a little tiny bit more ginger. Okay. Oh, I'm caught. There we go. A little tiny bit more ginger. Then we're going to let this just cook off. And I'm going to put this stuff in containers inside. And we will finish it up. I like to add a dash of soy sauce. Not too much. Otherwise it'll taste like more like an oriental dish instead of a Taiwanese dish. Just a drop. You almost want it to be laced with it, not the flavor of it. Very, very light flavor to it. So it's not a ton. It does add something when you add the peanut sauce to it. Alright. That's almost done, so give me a few minutes. We're going to let it finish up. And we'll bring you back when it's time to add the peanut sauce and put the noodles on. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. You want it to be browned up like that. You don't want it to be raw. But you also don't want it to be overcooked. Now we're just going to pour the peanut sauce in here. And I will stretch it out with the rest of that. I really should have brought a spatula out. But I will stretch it out with the rest of that sauce over there, my bouillon cube. But that looks pretty good, actually. There we go. Could use a little bit of stretching there. You want to make it kind of reduce and boil down into a sauce. And this is just an awesome meal. Let me try it out. Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. We're going to get the noodles ready. I'm going to put this on a plate. And we're going to be all set. So give me a sec to get the noodles ready and I'll bring you right back. All right, I got the noodles on the dish. And you don't want to overdo it with the noodles. I still have some left over. That was probably too much. I like a little bit of noodles with it. But I like to be able to just kind of ladle the chicken on there with the pad thai sauce. I wish you guys could taste this. It is just so amazing. I tried a piece of the chicken. Now I'm going to go inside and grab some cilantro because I forgot some for a little garnish. Kind of adds to the flavor as well. And I've already got the noodles already mixed around in the peanut sauce. That came out so perfect. Give me one sec to get the cilantro. I'll be right back. Just wanted to go in there and get that. The cilantro definitely adds, and this is freeze-dried cilantro. You know, this isn't anything special. It's just right from the package. So there you go. There you got it. The whole thing right there. Real easy to make. What we're going to do now is give it a taste. Once it's all together, I kind of cheated and had a little bit of the chicken first. But I want to try it all out. Here we go. Every time I make this, it's so delicious. The sauce on this is still a little bit thick. Maybe I would have added a little more water, but the sauce is amazing. Get a good close-up look at that. I mean, that is just so good. And, I mean, aside from cooking here, a place that's not really meant to cook, the cleanup from this is rather simple. For me, I have to clean everything in here because it's not really a kitchen. But if you do this in your kitchen, the cleanup is simple. The prep is really simple. I mean, there was really nothing to prep but cutting up the freeze-dried chicken, which does hydrate it a lot quicker when you have big pieces like this. And I want you guys to check out Freeze-Dried Wholesalers. All you got to do is click that link and you save 15% on your entire order just by clicking my link. Has nothing to do with any kind of codes or anything like that. Click my link, add the stuff to your basket. When you go to checkout, it will be there at the end to show you how much you've saved. He has everything in stock, like I told you. He's got, if he doesn't have it in stock, it just means it needs to be freeze-dried. He has it, but it's not freeze-dried yet. So he was pretty well prepared when this came around this time with the panic buying and the shortages and the shipping issues. So he's pretty well prepared. He's pretty much stocked up. So definitely check out Freeze-Dried Wholesalers. They got a lot of good food there. And freeze-dried stuff that you'd never imagine, like filet mignon, cheesecake. Who would think to freeze-dry this stuff, you know? And it's really, really awesome. So don't forget to check that out. I'm going to go have my lunch because I'm dying to eat that now. That's really came out great. Also, don't forget to check out all our other links, our Amazon affiliate store down below. As I told you already, the freeze-dried wholesaler link will get you 15% off on any food, not just the chicken, any food he has on the site. The more you order, the more you save, so go for it. We have our My Patriot Supply link, which is preparewithiridium.com. Preparewithiridium.com, got lots of bulk food there for storage. And our Thrive Life freeze-dried store as well. You can check them out there and see if you're interested in picking up some stuff from them. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared. I'm going to have some lunch.